You ever send a text and instantly regret it? Or maybe you don't even realize something's off until the replies get shorter or stop altogether. One day you're having a great conversation, and the next you're staring at your phone, wondering what went wrong. Here's the thing. Texting might feel casual, but it's loaded with hidden signals, timing traps, and unspoken rules. The kind of stuff that can make or break how someone feels about you. This isn't about playing games or obsessing over punctuation. It's about understanding how the way you text shapes how people see you. And more importantly, how to fix the things that might be quietly pushing people away. Let's break it all down. Sometimes enthusiasm takes the wheel. You're excited, you want to talk, and you keep the messages coming. At first, it might feel like energy, like connection, but pretty soon that can tip into overwhelm. When someone sends 5 texts in a row without waiting for a reply, it doesn't feel like a conversation anymore. It feels like pressure. The recipient might feel obligated, like they have to keep up or risk disappointing you. And that slowly chips away at the fun. It starts to feel like a job instead of a chat. The intention behind it might be pure, but the effect? Suffocating. Instead, let the space exist. A conversation doesn't die because you wait a few hours to respond. In fact, it often breathes better that way. Give the other person time to want to reply. If you're always filling the silence, you never give them a chance to miss you. And here's the truth most people miss. Texting less doesn't mean they'll forget you. It often means they'll think about you more. Oversharing is another hidden pitfall. It happens when you skip emotional steps and go straight to vulnerability overload. Maybe you think being open is attractive, and it can be when it's earned. But dropping your deepest secrets on someone in the first few conversations, that doesn't build closeness. It builds confusion. The other person might feel responsible for emotions they haven't agreed to be part of yet. A better approach is to ease into the deeper layers. Let emotional intimacy grow naturally. It's not about hiding who you are. It's about giving people time to feel safe around it. That's how real bonds form, one layer at a time. Few things kill momentum like one-word replies. They're short, cold, and barely signal interest. Even if you're just busy, sending minimal responses over time creates distance. It leaves the other person wondering if you're annoyed, bored, or just done. Now, you don't have to write a novel, but giving a little more can go a long way. Something like, "That sounds cool. How'd it go?" shows engagement. It shows you actually care about the conversation. You don't need perfect grammar or poetic sentences, just intention, just effort. Then there's the weird, silent war of response times. Some people reply instantly, others take hours, and in between, anxiety brews. You start wondering if you said something wrong or if they're ignoring you on purpose. And when it's you holding the phone, you might feel pressure to wait a bit, not seem too eager. But manipulating response times is one of the fastest ways to kill real connection because it shifts the focus away from honest communication and toward strategy. And while it might give you temporary power, it often erodes trust. Instead, reply when you want to, not to prove a point, not to play cool, but because you actually want to talk. Authenticity beats strategy every time. The right people won't be turned off by genuine interest. They'll be drawn to it. Let's talk about emojis. They can be fun. They can lighten the mood. But when every sentence ends with a dozen smiley faces or hearts or crying laughing faces, emojis are great seasoning. But too much, and the message gets lost under all the symbols. Use them with purpose. Use them to add flavor, not to replace real emotion. The most powerful texts aren't the ones with the most glitter. They're the ones that feel real. A simple, honest message often lands more deeply than a fireworks display of icons. We all have our moments. Stress hits, emotions run high, and the phone becomes an outlet. But impulsive texts sent in a mood often land harder than intended. A sarcastic message, a passive-aggressive jab, a wall of text fueled by frustration. And once it's sent, you can't unsend it. Sure, you can apologize, but the words still echo. It creates emotional whiplash. The person on the other end might not even know what triggered it. All they feel is confusion, maybe hurt, and a subtle sense that things aren't safe. If you're upset, pause. Let the emotions settle before you type. If it still matters a few hours later, then say it, but with clarity, not chaos. Texting isn't therapy. It's communication. Save the venting for a friend or journal. And remember, clarity connects more than catharsis. Overthinking can sneak into your texts. Trying to sound clever or polished or professional, especially in personal chats, makes things feel robotic. If you reread your text and it sounds like an email to your boss, it probably won't hit the mark. Texting thrives on ease, on the rhythm of real talk. It's okay to be a little messy, to use fragments, to mirror how you actually speak. When someone feels like they're talking to you and not your public relations department, It builds comfort. So let the formality go. Be clear, but be real. You're not being graded. You're being felt. Now here's one that's tricky. Sometimes you have a lot to say, and sometimes that's okay. But the wall of text habit often backfires. Long blocks of text can feel overwhelming. Most people read texts quickly, in motion, in the middle of their day. A novel-sized message often gets skimmed or saved for later, which might mean never. If something really matters, break it up. Let it breathe. Think of it like conversation, not a monologue. That doesn't mean dumbing it down, just packaging it in a way that makes it easier to receive. Quick sidebar. If you've ever ended a date with "text me when you get home," and then stayed up all night wondering if they died or just didn't like you, congrats. You've experienced Schrodinger's relationship. Flirting over text is an art. And like all art, it can go beautifully right or awkwardly wrong. The problem is that tone doesn't always carry. A message that felt flirty to you might feel strange to them, especially early on. A good rule of thumb: test the waters. Match energy. If they tease, tease back. If they keep it light, follow suit. Jumping into heavy innuendo or love declarations too early often creates a disconnect. Flirting should feel like dancing, not diving. Always being available might seem like a good thing. Like, look how into you I am. But it can quietly chip away at mystery, at attraction. When every ping gets an instant reply, it sends a signal that you don't have much else going on. And while that might be true in the moment, it's not the message you want to lead with. People are drawn to people with lives, with stories, with space. If you're always on call, the dynamic can start to feel one-sided. You become more of a responder than a participant. It's okay to take time, to live, to get back when you're ready. That space doesn't weaken connection. It strengthens it. Conversations that trail off with no clear end can leave a weird residue. 1 minute you're talking, the next silence. Do they fall asleep? Lose interest? When that happens too often, it creates insecurity. It makes people second-guess the whole vibe. You don't have to write a farewell speech, but a simple, "gonna crash now, talk soon," goes a long way. It shows respect, it shows presence, and it gives both of you a soft landing. Sending the same memes, the same lines, the same questions to different people might seem efficient, but people can sense it. Maybe not right away, but eventually. And when they do, it kills the magic. No one wants to feel like just another tab you have open. The most attractive thing you can do is make someone feel seen. That only happens when your messages reflect them. Their energy, their vibe, their humor. Personalize, even if it's subtle. That's where connection lives. So what should you do instead? Be intentional. Text with curiosity. Leave room for silence. Respond with realness. Match their rhythm. Focus less on what makes you sound good and more on what makes them feel understood. People don't remember every word you text, but they remember how your messages made them feel. That's the stuff that builds bonds. You don't need to be a texting wizard, just aware that behind every message is a person with hopes, hesitations, and a phone lighting up just like yours. So next time you go to type, pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this bringing us closer, or is this just filling space? That 1 second might change everything.